The Incredible Hulk had over 15 scholarships to schools such as Oregon, Baylor, MSU, Alabama, and many more. Out of all of them, he ended up going with Oregon as he loved the green color of the jerseys. Will the Incredible Hulk's strength be able to benefit him throughout his freshman season? Let's see. Will he make the cut or will he be a bust? My first college game in Oregon was against FCS Southeast, so this would be an easy game. It's safe to say we were going to dominate this game. However, I wanted to start off strong in my first game. However, I haven't gotten anything on the first drive. I was super close to getting my first sack here. However, I got pushed out of the way just barely, so I missed it. And I was still looking to get my first tackle. However, look at this. I got a huge hit and I got my first collegiate tackle. I was definitely starting to feel pretty hyped after this big tackle. My team continued to dominate on defense, which was awesome. It wasn't until the third quarter, however, that I would get my next huge play. As look at that, I forced a fumble on my first collegiate game and we got a turnover. I couldn't believe what I had just pulled off in my first ever game at Oregon. Look at that. I stripped the ball straight from the quarterback. I didn't really get anything else the rest of the game. However, we got a huge victory over FCS Southeast and I was super happy with my first performance. Our next game was up against 0-1 Virginia and I wanted to continue to prove that I was a valuable player on this team. Our defense got a perfect start to this game as they forced a fumble from the quarterback and our teammate picked up the ball and he took this all the way into the end zone for the first 6 points of the game, and my team was just continuing to dominate on defense. I got my first action of the game here as I was super close to getting my first tackle, but I continued to fall just short of my teammates' level of playing. Well, I knew that this was not high school anymore and these were the best players, so I knew this would be more tough. So I would have to work harder and harder every day, but thankfully my teammates were working very hard as look at that interception. I couldn't believe it. That was 2 turnovers this game and this almost went for 6 points. Oh, just barely. I had yet to get any stats this game so far still, but it was clear that my teammates were starting to rack these sacks up. Every play I was falling just short as literally I flew over that guy. Virginia was in the red zone, so I wanted to step up here and make a big play happen. But look at this. I fell over that guy. I tripped on my legs. However, I got right back up and I forced another fumble, my second game in a row. I single-handedly stopped Virginia from scoring right there as I stripped the ball straight from his arms and I gave my teammates the ball right back. Nothing else happened the rest of the game for me as we got our second easy victory in a row. But our next game was up against Tennessee, which I knew would be harder, and I missed a tackle here. I thought Tennessee was going to get a first down here, but look at my teammate forced a fumble and I was so close to recovering this. However, one of my teammates got it, and defensively my team was actually killing it so far as we got another stop. I couldn't believe how well my defense was playing, but I wanted to get in on this game. So going into the second half, we were up by 21 and I got my first hit of the game, which stopped the receiver from catching the ball. And on this play, I was able to put some pressure on Hendon Hooker here as he threw a terrible interception. And check this out. This went all the way for 6 points. What a play right there. And this next play, I finally got my big play that I was looking for as I got a huge hit for a tackle for loss. I was so hyped up after that. That hit was just brutal. Look at this, but I respect him for getting right up after that. But just 2 plays later, I probably had my worst performance yet as I left my man wide open, and look at this. He ended up taking this all the way into the end zone as they got their first touchdown of the game. I was so upset at myself. Thankfully though, we were easily able to get our 3rd victory of the season. Our next game was up against 1-2 California, and I thought this would probably be our hardest game yet. They were actually able to make some plays around our defenders. Thankfully though, like usual, we got our first defensive stop of the game on 3rd and 4. However, my bad coverage continued to let them make big plays just like the last game. I wanted to make up for that play, so on 3rd and inches, I decided to make a huge tackle there. I decided to side flip him to the ground. I myself am not even sure what really happened there, but my super strength is really starting to show. I wanted to keep up the pace and I continued to make some big plays as I assisted on a tackle, but sadly somehow the very next play, California was able to hit a dot to a wide open receiver for a 27-yard touchdown. Our offense failed to score, but I had an opportunity to get a touchback, but I missed the tackle. I was so furious with myself, and look at how far the quarterback scrambled for. The game was still tied 7-7 in the 3rd quarter, but my teammate got a huge interception almost to the end zone, which set up our offense to score another touchdown, bringing us to the lead. However, even with all the pressure on the quarterback here, he was still able to make a huge play to a receiver, and California was still doing good. And I was not going to let them score a touchdown, so I got my 2nd tackle of the game as I stopped the first down. To be honest though, that was my fault. He was even open in the first place though. On 1st and goal, I had an opportunity to get a huge tackle for loss though, but I missed the tackle. I was so upset. And of course, California tied up the game on the very next play. Thankfully though, our offense scored a touchdown and we held California to a 4th down, and we got the turnover on downs, so that means we won the game 4 in a row. Our next game, we were up against Coach Prime, and they were 2-2 on the season so far, and my teammates were balling out so far. I don't know what was happening to me lately, but I just didn't feel as strong as I was getting pushed off multiple tackles. I felt as if I had lost my super strength. I was so sad. This got me feeling off of my game, and I ended up going off sides, and I was super upset. My coach was very upset at me after that. No matter how many stops we had on defense, our offense was not able to score a single point in the first half. I was super upset at my team's team's offense and myself, as we were both not accomplishing anything this game. Thankfully though, our offense finally got a touchdown, but Colorado got off a big play here, so they were not out of this at all. Finally had gotten my first tackle of the game, but it was nothing special, as Colorado still got the first down. Coach took me off the field and they got a touchdown, and guess what? Our offense didn't score once again, so now Colorado had a chance to win this game. It was clear this was not our best game by any means, including me, and look at this. The quarterback found a wide open receiver for 44 yards. We were falling apart. The very next play, they ended up scoring a touchdown as well, so that means our offense had to score if they wanted to keep us in this game. Thankfully, our offense did score, bringing this game right to overtime. And the very first play of overtime, my teammate got an awesome interception, and that set us up for the win. Even though it was close, we remained undefeated. I knew this next game would be a tough one, as we were going up against 4-1 Washington. My team was playing awesome though, as we got an early stop on defense to start out the game. Our offense continued to not score any points though, which was unfortunate. And just like this, they made this a 2-possession game as they got up by 10. Our offense didn't score once again, and I was getting furious, so I finally got my first assisted tackle. Thankfully though, they scored the next drive and we got another stop on defense, which led our offense to get another touchdown to give us the lead. Washington, however, took the lead back as they got a touchdown, and they were looking to get another one to put this game even further away from us. And even with my perfect timing here, they still ended up getting into the end zone, making this game even farther away. Thankfully, the offense struck back and we were only down by 3, so he had to get a defensive stop. And just when I finally was needed, I got a huge sack on the quarterback. I had no stats this game until now, but I was so hyped up. I seemed to show up and play my best in just the right times as we got the stop after that huge sack, which ultimately led to us winning the game. I was so happy. Our next game was against 1-6 Washington State. Unlike the last game, I wanted to start off strong, so I got a big tackle in the first quarter. And not long after that tackle, I ended up getting a perfect opportunity for a massive hit on that guy right there. Washington State ended up taking the lead early on though, as they got a touchdown. And for some reason after that, Coach didn't put me into the game until the third quarter. I don't know what was going on, but Coach was not playing me like the entire game here. I was so confused. I had to keep working hard because I knew I was not on my game lately. This game was going into overtime and I would not see the field the rest of the game. Thankfully though, my teammates got the job done without me and they got the win. So I knew on my next game against UCLA, I would have to work very hard to earn my spot back as a starter. Thankfully though, my teammates were playing very well as we got an early defensive stop. I continued to just be off of my game though, as I missed a tackle to the quarterback. I finally got my first action in the game though, finally, when I got my first tackle as I bodied that guy to the ground. All I had to do though really was just lunge my body at these players and they would get to the ground after that. My team was killing it this game so far as we were up by 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, and on this play right here, I finally got my second tackle of the game. Unfortunately, they got the first down though. My team continued to dominate on defense and I wanted to finally make a play here, so look at this. I made a rush at the quarterback and I got him to the ground, forcing a turnover. This was looking to be a surprisingly easy win, but I wanted to continue to play hard, and we had officially gotten in a shutout against number 22 UCLA. Our next conference game was up against 6-2 Stanford. I started off strong once again as I got my first tackle of the game. However, they got the first down. I continued to work my butt off here as I finally got a decent tackle, stopping them from getting the first down. However, that was my zone. I had to cover still, so that was partly my fault there. And right off the bat, it was clear that we were not playing as well as we were against UCLA. We held them out to a field goal on the next play, and I got another tackle, my third of the game, and our defense got yet another defensive stop, 2 in a row. So I was clearly pretty upset that our offense hadn't scored any points so far. However, we weren't going to lose this game due to defense, as we got yet another turnover with an interception, but our offense continued to suck and didn't score, and Stanford found themselves in the red zone, and they scored on the very next play, bringing this game 10-0. Thankfully, our offense finally scored a touchdown, and we got a huge sack on defense, which led us to finally being in the lead, and I got another tackle, my fourth of the game. I was finally starting to get pretty involved within the games as I got my fifth tackle, stopping them from getting the first down. On 4th and 4, Stanford went for it, and we got the turnover with a sack, but like usual, our offense didn't score any points, which put us in a bad spot. Thankfully, I just barely stopped them from scoring there. No matter how hard we tried though, Stanford scored with only 30 seconds left in the game, and I just couldn't believe it. We were going to lose to Stanford as our offense turned over the ball once again with only 19 seconds left in the game. I was so furious that I went off sides. I was so mad, but it was not the defense's fault at all. We were now not undefeated. After our first loss of the season, we were probably not going to make the playoffs, but I wanted to finish strong, so I continued to contribute as much as I could as I got another tackle in this game. Our team was looking to bounce back after that huge loss, and I got a huge tackle, a huge hit on that guy. I continued to work hard though and get to as many tackles as I could. Thankfully though, we ended up getting a clutch win over Utah, but it was way too close for comfort. Our next game was against 6-4 Arizona. On 3rd and goal, we really wanted to hold Arizona out to a field goal, and we ended up accomplishing just that. I was so happy. Surprisingly, our offense got 2 huge touchdowns in a row. I was not expecting that. We continued to get stop after stop on defense. I had no tackles this entire game so far, so on 3rd and goal, I wanted to get a huge hit, and I did just that to stop them from getting a touchdown. No matter how well our defense did, our offense was still not able to ever score, so we were in a sticky situation, and Arizona got the touchdown right after that play. And of course, right right after that, they got to 2-point conversion to tie up the game, and this game ended up going straight to overtime. And once again, it was clear that our defense carried this team as they got a fumble and recovered it, which gave us the very close win against Arizona. Our next game was against Oregon State, and I started off strong with the first tackle of the game. This play right here, we put so much pressure on the quarterback that we fumbled the ball and got it. No matter what we did for the offense though, they were still never able to score. I ended up getting my second tackle of the game here. However, that was pretty much my fault on the coverage. We ended up getting yet another stop on defense to give our offense the ball. But like you guessed, they didn't score, of course. They finally got at least one field goal, but with only 22 seconds left in the half, somehow Oregon State got an amazing touchdown. I couldn't believe it. Thankfully, our offense found the lead in the second half, and we got another turnover. And we found ourselves up by only 4 points going into the fourth quarter, and I missed the tackle, so we got the first down. But on 4th and 19, we ended up getting the stop, which ultimately led us to winning the game. I was still pretty upset at the offense, though. It was time for our last regular season game against number 14 ranked USC, so this would be a difficult one. And early on in the game, due to my terrible coverage, I ended up letting up a touchdown, and USC got a huge play. I took full responsibility for that one, but too many times has that happened, but thankfully we got a stop on defense. Our offense continued to absolutely suck though, and we got our third defensive stop. However, I didn't accomplish anything the rest of the game, and this game was going into overtime, tied 20-20. And to start off overtime, of course our offense missed the extra point, so if we let up a touchdown here, we were going to lose this game. And guess what? Of course, USC scored the game-winning touchdown right there as they got the extra point and won. So after losing our second game, it was time for our bowl game against Baylor in the Alamo Bowl. I started off my final game of the season not playing so well as I was just tripping over my legs. Baylor ended up rushing in for their first touchdown of the game. Like usual, the offense scored absolutely 0 points. I mean, just look at this. We clearly had a national championship contending defense, but our offense was ruining our season. We continue to stop them on defense as I got another stop here on defense as I blocked the ball. Thankfully, this time though, they actually scored a touchdown and we got yet another stop. I couldn't believe how dominated we were doing on defense. Baylor's offense literally couldn't do a single thing against us. We were unstoppable. And I finally got my biggest play that I had gotten in a while as I got a huge sack for 8 yards. I was happy to get a play like that in the final game of the season. No matter how hard we played on defense, our offense absolutely sold this game, and Baylor ended up getting the lead here as they got another touchdown. So I clearly had a huge decision to make see if I wanted to stay on this team with a terrible offense or would they improve next year. And just like that, because of our offense, we ended up losing our final game of the season. So I had a huge decision to make. Would I stay with this team one more year or would I find a new team?